I'm a psychotherapist, mom, and human who has lived through the messiness of life and learned a few things along the way. I teach this stuff. So I decided to create a podcast called The Authenticity Mindset, where we can talk about the truth, take action, and get inspired. Are you ready to join the community? Let's go. Hello, welcome to episode 3. I'm Jen. I'm so glad to talk to everybody today. Oh my God, we're going to talk about some good stuff. We are talking about how to get rid of fear of judgments of other people. Holy shit, this is like the kahuna as far as I'm concerned. Everyone I talk to, everyone that I know, every friend that I have, every cell inside of my being struggles with this, right? Of worrying about what other people are going to think, worrying about what other people say, or just reacting in general to previous things that people have said about us and opinions that have been slaughtered onto us. I think it's such an important topic because, frankly, when we're trying to pursue living our best life and being our most authentic self, this is the main thing, right? This is the biggest component that gets in people's way. And, when I am treating people in my psychotherapy practice, this is a huge component, right? In terms of when people are coming in and they have an idea about how they want to be living their life, but it's the fear of what other people are going to say about it. It's the fear of what other people's judgments are. It's the fear of not confidently believing that their idea is enough to launch them into the part of their life that they want to be living. So this is a universal problem that we all face, right? And so this is how we can come together is an understanding, okay, I know that this is something that I have in my head is this worry or this preoccupation about what it is that people are thinking about me, or if they disagree about an idea that I have, or if I think this way a lot, by the way, if I think something's really good and I think something's a good idea, what is someone else going to think? And what if they don't agree? And does that mean it's not good anymore? What if people are going to make fun of me? Or what if people are going to talk about me behind my back? Which I hate to break it to you. The truth is, people are going to talk about you behind your back. It happens all the time. You know that. I know that, right? Like, when's the last time that you went to an event and someone didn't say something about someone else? I don't promote it. It's not a kind thing to be doing, but it's definitely happening. And so, if we know that, and if we can say, all right, there's really little that I can do in terms of stopping the judgment from others, then what does that leave me? What space is left when it's just me and me? So, this is what I want to get into today. How do we empower and embolden this concept of me and me? And how do I like the me that I'm showing up as? So, the first thing that we have to be able to think about is where does this judgment really come from? And, I've talked about this in previous episodes already. Really understanding the background and the information of how we grew up and how belief systems of others have impacted us. I talked about in the last episode about giving yourself permission to live fully into your own desires. So if we think about this concept of where did this notion that someone else's opinion is greater than my opinion even came from? And frankly, it came from the fact that we were all kids, right? We were all kids, and there was a hierarchy and authority system in place when we're learning how to take care of ourselves and we're learning how to interact with the world. And the fact of the matter is that there never becomes a clear stopping point of when do you receive guidance and parenting or teaching and education in our school system to when we're then adults being able to say, okay, I got it. And I think I can make a decision now, or I think I'm going to seek this mentorship or this guidance over someone else's. It all comes down to a gut feeling, right? That intuitive sense of self. That's the one that really pushes us forward and helps us realize, okay, yeah, I'm going in the right direction because I'm going to listen to this person rather than someone else. So, but there's no point, right? Like I talk to a lot of college kids or high school kids in my practice, who are getting ready to go to college. And so much of that transition period of becoming an adult and becoming more independent, it's like this trial and error. It's taking a risk. It's saying, okay, I think that I can do this. I think that I'm ready, but I'm not exactly sure. Right? And so I think if we were to understand that it's natural and normal to be unsure, but that we can do it anyway, even if people judge us. Like, whoa, triple whammy of like scary things, right? I'm unsure, meaning I don't have full control. What if people judge me, which they are going to? And what if what I actually think and feel and want doesn't actually work out? Then what? Right? So those three things are what I find people really get stuck on. And so the way to be able to confront each one of them is by leaning into this notion of attachment to an outcome. If I'm attached to what someone else thinks about me, then that attachment is going to really motivate and drive all of my decisions. But who is this person, right? Who is this other person that's outside of me that I'm worried about judging me? It seems like if I'm attached to, one person having one opinion, then another person could have another opinion. And what if I'm attached to the wrong side? There's no winning in that, right? So we need to be able to release from the attachment that we have of other people's judgments and instead become attached and motivated to our own transformation and our own assessment of judgment and it is that we're wanting. That's really where the power comes in, right? So, really think about that concept for a second. Rather than being attached to someone else's opinion, your parent, your friend, your neighbor down the street, the other mom on the soccer team, rather than being attached to their opinion, what if you were fully and wholly attached to your own opinion? How could that free up how you're thinking and what your judgments are about yourself? Because owning who you are means that you're all in no matter what. If there's fear, if there's failure, if there's shit talking happening behind the scenes, if there's someone else doing it differently, okay, so then what? You're the one who's going to be living with yourself after all is said and done. And so when you decide that owning who you are is an important value for you and a component to your success, then you have to also understand there are going to be barriers that are going to come up. There are going to be roadblocks like fear and like perceiving judgment from people and like seeing people whisper in the corner because apparently we never get to leave middle school in this beautiful society that we're living in, right? Now we have social media and chat rooms and Instagram and Snapchat and all these different online platforms where people can access and contact each other at all times and flood their opinions, right? And so if that's accessible, let's use these platforms to help us gain education and mentorship, to help us empower our own authentic voice rather than react and respond every time someone says something that's a little bit different than what we think. I think we need to sort of bring ourselves to a place where are we showing up the way that we want because that's going to help us get ahead? And can we be attached to that comfort and peace and alignment? Or are we going to be reacting constantly to what everyone else is potentially judging us for? So that's the real component here, attachment versus reactivity. There are like two sides of the same coin, right? And a lot of times I tell people to be reactive is to really lose control, whereas to be attached is a choice. It's a choice as to whether or not your attachment to a person, an object, a belief, a goal is working for you and healthy for you. So let's flip this whole notion of what other people's opinions are and judgments are of us from being in a reactive place that we're not going to be able to control anyway, to instead being in an attached place that we're empowered and emboldened by. I want to live a life that is attached to living fearlessly, living boldly, overcoming my own stuff, right? Which I know what that is. My husband will probably tell you he knows what it is too. My kids as well, I'm sure, can point out different quirks of mine that annoy them at times. But that's fine because I don't need to worry about their judgments. I need to know what part of me I want to be working on, and then I need to become attached to getting that outcome to come into fruition. Okay? So attached to my outcome, to my goal, and then less reactive to the opinions of everyone else because they're going to be there anyway. I can't reinforce that concept enough. The judgments of others are irrelevant because they were there long before your goal and your ambition began to grow. People were judgy, people were reacting, people were deciding how they were going to show up based on their own insecurities and their own traumas and their own life experience. And we don't need to consume ourselves with the details of that person's life, right? That's for them to do. Your job is to get consumed by the details of your life. Become obsessed with how your life story is playing out. And this is not to promote egocentrism or narcissism or, don't care about anyone else. Like, that's totally not the vibe that we promote here, right? This is about prioritizing yourself enough to say, listen, I'm allowed to have as many feelings and decisions about my life as anyone else is. And so when I give away my power to everyone else to let their judgments matter more than mine, I'm the one who's really gonna, receive the consequences of that. I'm the one who's going to negatively benefit from putting someone else ahead of my own self. So I know a lot of people struggle with this, especially like younger generations. Again, I think that as we get older, this concept becomes easier. We all sort of hear people in earlier generations talk about how when they try to interact with themselves or they try to interact with somebody else, this worry about, whether or not they're going to be accepted becomes really difficult to overcome. And I think part of that is because we seek not only the approval of others, but we seek the ability to be liked, to be inspired by, to be validated by others. And that's a normal human behavior. You're not a bad person or insecure because you like validation. We all do, right? I mean, I've been making this business and this podcast, right? I would show it to a friend, show it to my husband, be like, "It's okay," And of course, I want to hear like, "Yeah, it's okay." Like, okay, go for it. Like, keep taking the next step forward, or yeah, maybe you could tweak this or tweak that, and all of that's really helpful guidance and feedback, right? But we're our most aligned self when we can say, that's really helpful feedback. I like that. I don't like that. Just because you didn't like that doesn't mean I need to change it. And I'm okay with that decision. And I'm okay with taking the risk that comes with that. And I think that that ultimately gives us the patience to say, I'm going to go one step forward and I'm going to patiently look at how my nervous system responds, about how the world responds. And I'm going to really stay connected to this attachment idea of, am I still good with what I'm doing and how I'm doing it? Because if I am, then there's sky's the limit, right? There's no stopping anything at that point. So this is what I want to encourage you to think about and take a next step in how you're spending your day and how you're making one small decision, which is, are you making the decision coming from an attached to your goal and your outcome place? Or are you reacting to the fear of what everyone else might be thinking about you? And can you take a minute and just imagine for a second all the shit talking? Envelop yourself in the coffee circles and in the PTA gossip circles and in the workplace huddles and in the like group text chats that are happening where people are making an abundance of commentary about you. Just imagine it, envelop yourself in it. Like, ooh, I can just feel I can feel the messages being shared now about, can you see what she's doing and who do you think she is? I can feel it. I can, I can feel my heart palpitating in response to the judgments. Can you hear it? Can you hear my heart beating fast in imagining all of the shit talking? Okay. So now we're gonna just embrace it and we're gonna sit with it for a second. We're gonna say, okay, that's there. And what happened? Did anything actually happen because I confront the possibility or the reality that people are judging? Nothing happened. I'm still just here needing to make my next best decision about how I take a step forward towards my goal. I'm still here with the responsibilities of being a parent, being a business owner, being a therapist, being a wife, being an animal owner. We just took our dog to the vet this morning. It was like a whole stressful situation. I'll just side note on that for a second. She is so hyper. Guys, I told you about this golden retriever that we have. She is so hyper. We took her to the vet this morning, and thank God we are a two-man team, is all I can say, because I look forward to the day when she reaches a certain age and can calm the hell down. Because it's a lot. It's a lot on top of everything else. Okay, off of that, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna pay attention to what I'm saying. But it was a lot this morning. Am I aligned and attached to what I want to be doing, even though that other chatter is happening? And can I allow it? And that's where the 1 minute comes in. We're practicing allowing it because it's happening anyway, rather than fearing and anticipating it. Because when we go into fear and anticipation, we're now making shit up. We're now believing stuff that hasn't even happened. So let's assume that it's happened, right? Let's assume that the judgments are going to be there and the opinions are going to be there. Let's sit with it. Let's imagine it. Let's embrace it. Let's let it envelop us fully. And then there's nothing. There's nothing that happens because someone has an opinion against you. Nothing. Isn't that wild? Nothing happens with someone else's opinion about you. You are still left at the end of the day with needing to do the next thing, to take the next risk or not. Or if you are overwhelmed and sort of in your own spiral about how you wish it wasn't that way, how you wish that people weren't behaving that way or having that judgment, you're getting nowhere. You're not taking any steps forward. They're not helping you take any steps forward. You're not reinventing the wheel and going backwards to get their approval because guess what? They're on their own path and they're pursuing their goals while you're sitting and stopping and waiting and reacting. So some of this is like a little bit of a pep talk for myself because in starting this podcast, I also have set the goal to be able to embrace all feedback, all criticisms, all supports, all encouragement, all suggestions. I'm just open to embracing it all because I want to grow and I want to learn as a human being and I want my life experience, as long as I have it, to be one that's rich and aligned with my values and showing myself and my children that doing hard things is worth the fight. That doing hard things builds your character, it builds your inner strength, it builds your sense of self-esteem. And that at the end of the day is what we have. We have our relationship with ourselves in our heart in this authentic mindset. I know that was so cringy. I'm sorry. But I have to say it every now and then. I have to throw out the fact that this is the authenticity mindset. Um, and that working towards developing this further relationship with yourself is the thing. This is the golden nugget, guys. Like, I'm so excited about talking more about this, and maybe I'm not always as articulate as I could be with my words, but I'm going to try anyway, because whatever, right? Because we don't care about the judgments. If you can grasp the fact that Doing what you need to do for your life anyway, regardless of what anyone else thinks, is the key to your success. It's not how much money you have in the bank or how many networking opportunities you have or how much Botox you put in your head, which, by the way, I'm totally considering Botox. I will take all opinions about it. My children said don't do it. I'm considering it. Just saying, I'm totally open to the idea. I'm not judgmental of anyone who does anything. I'm open to it, considering it. It's still in the consideration phase. Maybe I'll update you if I do it. Maybe you'll be able to tell because my eyebrows won't move. Maybe I won't say anything about it. I'll have to listen to myself and my authentic voice as to what feels right. That was another tangent. So when we align with our most authentic self, that is going to always be the right path. What comes next, we don't know, but for sure as hell, everyone else's opinion about it is not going to help. So, attachment to your goals, patience with the process, get excited about the transformation that's possible for your life, and take 1 minute exposing yourself mentally to the idea that they're already talking shit. And it's up to them to decide if they're going to do more with their life. It's not your business, it's theirs. So the more time that they spend judging and criticizing what you're up to, the less time that they're focused on them. So take advantage of that time. Get ahead. Be fearless for that 1 extra minute that they're off being distracted talking about you. Doesn't that feel powerful? So I hope this message finds your day. In the context of something exciting and scary that you're taking on. And I hope that it encourages you to think that 1 extra minute about what it is that people could say, and then it gives you the patience with yourself to just let it go and do it anyway. Let it go and do it anyway. They're going to be judging. You still have a life to live. That's it for today. I hope that this message is felt with the passion and clarity and authenticity that I intended to. We're figuring this out. Not perfect yet, but we're getting there. Remember to check out theauthenticitymindset.com. There are programs and courses and memberships there. You can join us. I look forward to seeing everybody. Take care. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you found something that feels right for you. Remember, while I am a psychotherapist, I am not your psychotherapist. So if you're looking for therapy, make sure you find a licensed mental health provider in your area. And I guess like and subscribe because that's what they do these days. We want more people involved, right? Go get it. See you next time.